it was realising that, like, hang on, I'm not the only one. Like, I'm not the only builder. Like, most builders are going through what I'm going through.
Duayne, I know that for lots of our builder members, this whole idea of actually making that decision to actually, get started on improving yourself, you're really busy, you're pulled in a million different directions being a business owner, you can feel like there's no ability for you to actually make the choice to start improving yourself. What made you actually turn around and decide? Because I know it took a while. Like, what actually finally was the kicker for you that made you decide you wanted to start changing things for yourself, professionally and personally?
Look, it was just getting to a point where everything that I had dreamed about getting into business for was all falling apart. So getting quality time with family, getting to have good time away, not getting interrupted by work, and just, I guess, having a team that would allow me to be able to do that. And it just got to a point where it was all too much. And it was like, what the hell do I even have a team for? Like, I'm doing everything myself. Like, what's going on? Like, this is just crazy. And then you start to question yourself. Like, should I not be doing this? Am I not good enough to be a builder? Like, there's just so much that starts playing on your mind. And but probably the number one thing is just family. Like, the one thing that most people work hard for and get into business for starts to fall apart.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Because you see so many builders get into the business of owning a building business because they feel it's going to give them more autonomy, more flexibility, be able to fund the lifestyle that they want to lead with their family, and they end up instead getting trapped in this business that doesn't work for them, realising that they're out of their depth because they don't know what they need to know to be able to run that business successfully. They're then in a stressful relationship with their partner. It feels like there's a lot on the line. The builders we work with, they're mostly family-run businesses. They've got their own finances, inside the business, and that becomes really challenging. And also, if they're working incredibly long days, they're not getting to see their kids. It all just snowballs, doesn't it? So I can imagine that was a really big turning point for you.
Yeah, it is, and you get to a point where, and again, it's just one of those things, and I think it's really important that, like, don't feel ashamed that you're in this position, because you do. You get into a position where you're working incredibly long hours. Like, my kids were only very young when we had our hardest years. Like, my oldest daughter, like from when she was born through until about 3 or 4 years old, we really struggled. My second daughter's only 2 years behind her, so like the first couple of years of her life, or the first couple of years of both their lives, I hardly saw them. Like, I'd go to work in the dark. I'd work all day. Like, occasionally I might get a chance to call in at home and quickly see them during the day, and they'd be napping or something. And then by the time we got home, like, my wife's stressing out. Like, she's trying to do all the chores, feed, bath, and all those types of things. And 9 times out of 10, by the time I was in a position to come home and see them, they're in bed again. So, and then you're working your 6, sometimes 7 days a week, and you're not even making ends meet. Like, you're doing incredible hours. You're under extreme pressure. There's very little money in the bank. Cash flow's terrible. You're picking and choosing what bills you can pay because you don't have enough to keep everyone happy. So you're under more pressure because you have to make excuses to people on the phone, and it just keeps growing and growing, and you feel like you're just drowning, like you don't know how to get out of it.
That's the point that we see a lot of builders go, okay, building's clearly not for me. I need to step out. I can't do this. I can't keep making this, doing this to my family. I can't keep not making this work. What for you was instead, no, I'm actually going to double down. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to get this building business working.
Look, again, it was family. Like, I always wanted to have a business, but the main reason was so that I could like have the life that I wanted to have. I could support my family, and I was failing at that. So for me, it just got to a point where I just had to step up. I had to take responsibility. I had to own things. It's funny, like, there's all these sayings out there, like, anyone that keeps doing the same thing and doesn't get a different result, all of them. But that's all I was doing. Like, I was just on this hamster wheel of have the high, have the low, have the high, have the low, and but I was doing nothing about changing that or making it any better. And like my mental health really suffered, and it eventually got to a point where I would basically, like I still managed to grow a big team and have, like on the outside I was getting rewarded. Like people thought I was killing it. I had a big business, I had lots of staff, but like I was drowning. I wasn't seeing my family. I didn't even get to see my kids grow up for their first couple of years. And it got to a point where I would literally just get in my truck, drive around. Like I would end up literally hours and hours and hours away, out in the bush. No one knew where I was, but I still had service. Like people could still ring me. I could still make phone calls, and no one knew what was going on. It was horrible.
Yeah. What did you do? Because we see lots of builders get into that situation where their mental health is really hurting and they don't reach out. One of the amazing things that I love about our membership group is how much they support each other with those mental health challenges. And sometimes you do need external support as well. You need to go and speak to somebody, get some better tools, and access better information in order to support your own well-being. How have you found that and seen that with other builders in particular?
Yeah, no, definitely. But I do think for me, I think everybody, like all blokes need to talk, but builders need to talk. And like I know from the first couple of seminars we did, like for me, it was really about, like I got into a place where I thought it was only me. Like I'm the person. I didn't finish school. I don't have a good enough education. Like I can't run a business. I'm failing. Like I can't put my hand up. Like these guys are going to look at me and think like, what the hell's going on? Like you're stupid or something. But I think getting to a point where obviously I realised that I had to do something. Otherwise I wasn't just going to lose my business. I was going to lose my family and possibly even worse. So it was realising that, like, hang on, I'm not the only one. Like I'm not the only builder. Like most builders are going through what I'm going through. So having the courage to put your hand up and talk, and again, I think that's something we're both very proud of with Live Like Build. Like we've created a community where people feel comfortable to actually have these conversations and put their hand up and ask for help, and other members in the group get involved and help each other out.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?